Back with another video. Welcome back to the Crypto Coffee channel, everybody. Big moves happening in the Bitcoin space. We just tapped $64,000 today. This is huge, extremely bullish for the entire ecosystem because typically, guys, what happens is Bitcoin, as we know, the energy, the attention, the money, sometimes the money, it trickles into other assets like Ethereum next, altcoins next. This is kind of how things rinse and repeat in the crypto world. $64,000 Bitcoin today. I had no idea it was going that high. It blew past all my expectations, honestly. I thought it was going to kind of top out yesterday. Today just completely blew up and then, crashed all the way down. I think today we're sitting at about 60,000 after a whole bunch of people were squeezed out at 64K. We had a giant dip all the way back down to 60. So we're sitting at 60. Now, yesterday I tweeted, I could be wrong about this. I might be proven wrong quickly. It might not be. Jury's still out. I was predicting that Bitcoin was not going to reach its all-time high before the halvening. Typically, like every other 4-year cycle, Bitcoin did not reach its all-time high before the halvening. Now, the halvening this year, guys, when the block reward is cut in half, that's going to be on April 20th or maybe April 19th. So 420, easy day to remember. How fitting for the crypto ecosystem, right? 420. So Bitcoin's going to be halvening. A lot of people think that's bullish because it's a supply shock. And then you've also got maybe a demand shock on the other side happening too. A lot of people are entering the ETFs, okay, the Bitcoin ETFs. And now one side of the argument, what I've heard some people say online is that, it's only going to be, this is the Maxis argument, right? Oh, Bitcoin's going to be the only thing pumping because everyone's buying the ETF now. And so none of this money is going on exchanges. Well, not as much is going on exchanges or not as much as in DeFi. That's flawed logic, in my opinion. Okay, that's very flawed logic. People are still trading on exchanges. And when the price goes up, yes, most of the new money, okay, is from the ETFs. It is coming from boomers, 401ks, institutional money, Vanguard. Everyone's allocating 1 or 2 or 3% of their portfolio, from gold or whatever other commodity and now into Bitcoin. But this is good. This is not bad. And it's not going to be, oh, it's only Bitcoin. I mean, this is the Bitcoin Maxis wet dream, right? Oh, we're the winners and everybody else loses. And then the economy fails and we're the only beacons of hope because we're so smart. Look, we can all be winners here, but it's true that money entering the Bitcoin ETF is not going to be directly into the DeFi world. It never really is. It's kind of no different than money that floods into Bitcoin on exchanges. Money that floods into the DeFi world, the EVM machines, Ethereum and all that, happens when people withdraw their coins, when they withdraw their Ethereum or their PulseChain, off into their personal wallets, their real crypto wallets. So obviously ETFs aren't real DeFi, obviously, but it's sparking engagement. It's sparking eyeballs, attention. I think everyone's going to have their eyes back on Bitcoin if they don't already. I haven't seen anybody significant in like the normie world really, focusing on Bitcoin again. I saw Jim Cramer say something stupid about it as always, but it's not like it's getting a whole bunch of attention other than it's making a huge rift, a huge wave, of excitement in the cryptocurrency space itself, crypto Twitter and all that. So what are we potentially looking at here? Well, if we go past $69,000, we would be making new all-time highs before the Bitcoin halving. That would be unprecedented. My bet is still that that's not going to happen. But hey, anything can happen this next, 6 weeks. I could be proven wrong, or we could just get smashed down and go sideways, or even have a pretty big correction. I mean, we could have a 30, 40, 50% correction. That's not out of the cards as well. See, when people give predictions, right, they just name all the different scenarios and kind of give probabilities to them. So because I think it's likely that we're not going over 69K doesn't mean that we're not going over, you have to consider every single scenario. Now, I do think that there's a lot of institutions that have a lot of Bitcoin to sell. There's a lot of seized government Bitcoin. Richard Hart talks about, the Silk Road Bitcoin. A lot of the governments that have stolen Bitcoin from citizens, they need exits, right? They want to dump on people. But at the same time, it seems like the demand is outpacing the selling right now. And most likely just because all of the asset managers are now allocating 1 or 2 or 3% of their portfolios into Bitcoin. So this is a big deal. And no, it's not going to be a Bitcoin only rally. All right. Anyone telling you that, they're probably just a Bitcoin maxi. All right. They probably just want everything else to fail secretly because they've already made up their mind. Look, the Bitcoin rally is sparking engagement across so many other things. You've got the Ethereum ETF in talks right now. Now, Jim Cramer might have cursed us, right? Jim Cramer just tweeted about an Ethereum ETF. So we might have to wait a little longer on that. That's a good thing, right? I don't mind if we don't hit all-time highs in the next month and a half. In fact, that would be my preferred scenario just because we would have more time for an extended 1 or 2 or 3 year pump, right? Like maybe a multi-year bear market because, although some things might be different, guys, we've never actually seen crypto experience a global macro recession, and we've never seen crypto in this new paradigm. So there might be a new paradigm of, could the 4-year cycles be broken? Yes. Or maybe we have a left translated cycle, like Bob Lucas likes to say. Maybe because we went up so hard so fast right now, we could be in a left translated cycle. I'd say that's more likely if we get to an all-time high before the halvening. But even if we do make an all-time high, there's still a chance that the whole paradigm is different. Okay, the whole game has potentially been changed. You got institutional money, global recognition. So you could still have another full-on 1 or 2 or longer bull market. I mean, it could, nobody really knows. We're all just guessing here. So yes, that's a long-winded way of saying, oh, price could go up, down, or sideways. Wow, genius. So insightful. That's why you follow me. All right. So Richard Hart here has been making some, I don't know if this is a price prediction because explicitly he says it's not, but $241,000 Bitcoin. That's Richard Hart's price prediction. Now I asked everybody in this poll here, is this a top call? Most people said no. Some people said yes. Guys, I have no idea what to think. Look, it's like the first paragraph of the tweet, he says, notice how I didn't call the top this time. So he gives you a call and then he's like, but it's not a price call. So guys, I don't know what's going on with this. I think probably it's not a price call. I think he's just saying, look, price could go as high as 241K. Now, I had been pretty bearish on Bitcoin just due to the whole diminishing returns thing. And I still think that, but I could be proven wrong here. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how high the euphoria is going to get. I don't know how exuberant the whole market's going to be. But what my original thoughts were is that, in the first cycle, we had Bitcoin doing a 3,000x. Second cycle, we had it doing 100x. Third cycle, we had it doing a 20x, right? From 3K to 69K. Fourth cycle, if they're going down by orders of magnitude, if the amplitude is diminishing of the wave every cycle, my theory was like, okay, if this just plays out again, then we go from a 20x to maybe a 5x. And so a 5x from the low of 15K puts us at about 80K. And because that's a little too bearish for me, I just kind of round up. I've been saying like 100K, maybe 120 if we're lucky. Richard just doubled that number. He just said 240 rather than 120. So look, I think 120 is on the table. But look, if Richard's saying 240, let's try to see why. Look, he says now that Wall Street is on board, if it continues like it has been, they could absorb all the sales anyway. So he's really thinking that this institutional money might outdo the sales from people like Mt. Gox that's been pretending to sell for over 10 years now. So what he's probably saying too is that the SEC, the ETF votes being 3-2, it kind of barely slid in. So it's almost a black swan. It was a little bit unexpected, meaning this demand shock caught a lot of people off guard. It caught me off guard. I didn't expect Bitcoin to go to 64K today. But now that we've been in a bull market for a year and a half, because, Bitcoin's low was about a year and a half ago, if you're measuring that way, this tweet from Richard is saying Bitcoin, BTC is up 4x in 464 days. INC is up 7.4x in 52 days. PulseX up 5.7x in 167 days. PulseChain's up 4x in 185 days. And HEX has doubled in the last 52 days. So in summary, guys, Bitcoin's price going up is good for all of crypto. It's not only good for Bitcoin. Don't listen to those other people out there saying, oh yeah, altcoins are dying forever. And if you like better technology, security, throughput, better fees, better for the environment, and better price potential, check out this stuff over here, guys. Check out this ecosystem. This is where you're going to want to be. PulseChain, PulseX, HEX, INC. If you're new here, these are your starter pack. Okay, this is the starter pack before you go venturing into crazy meme coin land. Or, we've got so much out there, so much DeFi stuff. It's actually a thriving ecosystem. But these are the core coins for people that don't know. You're going to want to buy a bag. I'll talk about buying at the end of the video for people that might be new here. I'll touch on where to buy and stuff like that. But let's go back to Twitter, shall we? I want to cover something else very cool that has to do with the origin address of HEX. The origin address has been making moves. But yeah, that's kind of sums up my thoughts in Bitcoin. I don't think this time it's different. I will probably be proven wrong. We're all just guessing at the end of the day. I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. Believe it or not, guys, everybody's actually just guessing. But it's good to think about all the possibilities. I'm a little bit more bearish on Bitcoin than 240K, right? 120K sounded okay to me. Left translated cycle, I don't want to believe that, but it could happen. I could just be biased because I want my bags to pump for a longer period of time. But diminishing returns seems to be something I believe in, right? Every single time Bitcoin has a cycle, the gains in terms of amplitude from bottom to top goes down by an order of magnitude. Remember, we went from like 3000x, 100x, 20x. This is cycle 4. So if we're kind of dividing by 5 or dividing by 4 every time, well, 20 divided by 4, that's 5x, being generous. Now, this time really could be different. We're in a different paradigm. Okay, that's what I want the takeaway to be.
Now, for people that haven't been paying attention, guys, go follow this guy, Money Gang Crypto, among one of the many great influencers in the ecosystem that, influencer, it's a dirty word, okay? He's a content creator. He's an educator. I don't know. He's a guy that just gives people info, all right? And so he's been keeping me up to date, as well as Katie and so many other people, right? It's not all credit to him, but look, he's relaying the information of what the origin address in PulseChain is doing. The sacrifice address, rather, not the origin address. The sacrifice address, remember, this was the address that held 600 million DAI from the PulseChain sacrifice round and PulseX sacrifice round, is now putting it to work, it seems, in very stable DeFi protocols. And the whole breakdown, I'm really glad that Money Gang's tweet here sums it all up for us, okay? The man who shall not be named, right? We actually don't know if it's Richard. I mean, I always thought, what if it's just one of Richard's friends? You know what I mean? Like, what if it's just like, hey, can you click these buttons for me so that technically it wasn't me that clicked I don't know. Who knows, guys? But broken down, there's been over $170 million of the 600 million being put to work, earning very, very stable, very, very safe yield. Now, you can think whatever you want out of this. Oh, he's paying for lawyer fees. Oh, he's going to pump our bags. Look, I don't want to get too cargo culty, right? That's when everyone's just hoping and praying that someone else pumps their bags. But it's very interesting and very good to see that there's smart moves being made here without going into Ethereum, actually. Interestingly enough, he's not buying Ethereum, or it is not buying Ethereum. It is parking the DAI stablecoins, the dollar coins, in $105 million in SDAI, okay? $105 million in Spark.fi. I mean, look, this is just a very safe, it's connected to Maker, okay? It's connected to Maker. You can earn 5% on your DAI. It's very safe. So on top of that, previously a couple days ago, I think yesterday, 42 million was also put into SDAI. So these two up here, this almost $50 million is earning 5% yield. And then 2 or 3 days ago, what was happening with the PulseChain sacrifice address, everybody, pay attention. This is big moves, okay? People pay attention to this because it's usually bullish, right? The sacrifice address, the origin address, typically, historically, what they've done has only been a net positive for the entire ecosystem. You could ask about that with HEX too. There was moves made in the early days of HEX to protect the price, using the origin address. But time will tell. We are all speculating about what this could be for. Honestly, it could just be Occam's razor. He could just be making stable yield right now so that his bag doesn't lose value to inflation. There's that too. Will this be deployed in terms of crossing the bridge? Well, one interesting thing about this $42 million is that 50 of this dollars, only 50 little old dollars of the 42 million was actually sent across the bridge, maybe to do some kind of experiment to see how wrapped SDAI would be over on the PulseChain blockchain. And remember, SDAI just represents DAI that's earning 5% APY in this Spark.fi protocol, okay? 28.2 million split between two different batches of 14 million. And of those 14 million batches, 7 million of the sacrifice funds, remember the DAI, is also sitting in Aave, earning yield as a lender in Aave, and 7 million in Compound. Okay, so that's what CDAI is. Compound and Aave are two of the oldest Ethereum DeFi protocols. 7 million is parked in each of those. I believe Compound, last time I checked, was earning 7% APY. Aave is earning 4.5% APY, I think. So you can see there's chain analysis here, guys. This isn't just people talking. All right, you can see that when people post this kind of stuff, there's actual proof of it. So it's not just people talking out their asses. Like, a lot of people like to make up stories. Richard's dumping on your heads. Okay, bro, show me the transaction hash. That's all you got to say. People don't know this about blockchains. You could literally prove every single transaction. So all these made up stories about Richard dumping on you or anything like that, provably untrue. Provably, just look at the chain analysis data. If you don't know how to, ask somebody else. And look, so right here is kind of the proof of $104 million moving into Maker, DAI for Maker. So just, it looks like in total, 177 million DAI is probably earning on average, 5 or 6% APY. That's like $20,000 or $30,000 a day of just free money. What will he do with that money? What will they do with that money? Who knows, guys? My guess is as good as yours. I mean, comment below if you want to talk about what your idea would be or is. But that's what we've got going on today, everybody. That's the latest updates. So big things happening. People are gearing up. It seems like there's a general vibe of people gearing up for, well, Bitcoin's at 60K. We're back in the bull, okay? The Bitcoin low, probably in. And so we've been in a bull, if you count from the Bitcoin low, for a year now. PulseChain is up from its lows of 0.00003 to 0.00014. So PulseChain's up over a 4x, okay? From the bottom, we are probably in a bull market. Now, it's still very, very early. So it's, in my opinion, Still a good buy, but not for much longer. Like, I will not be buying at a certain point. But, PulseX is still below sacrifice rate. We've got a good tweet from Katie as well that I wanted to cover real quick. Other breaking news in the PulseChain ecosystem. Shout out to KDP Crypto, our lovely influencer. Sorry to use that word again. Lunar Crush right here, guys. The gates are falling. And so PulseChain now has full support on Lunar Crush, which is a social metric platform that just tells you, how coins are doing based on their Twitter engagement, their Reddit, their YouTube. Okay, now take Lunar Crush with a grain of salt. I'm skeptical that a lot of their data is actually accurate because I don't see a lot of activity on there other than it seems like they're mostly counting Twitter, which is fine. Maybe there's still some insights to get from this. But let's go to Lunar Crush right now and just show you guys. Here we go, guys. PulseChain. PulseChain is available right here on lunarcrush.com. And of course, they make you upgrade to get the metrics. So we can just go ahead and take a look on here. So if you want to make an account, look, you really, really, really don't have to. All it's going to show you is basically what I've already mentioned on other videos, that when you plot the social metrics compared to the price, price has gone down for a very long time now, probably 1 or 2 years now. And social engagement has only gone up astronomically, like exponentially. Exponentially down price, exponentially up social metrics. So with this divergence on a metric that people usually don't talk about, interactions, posts, creators, contributors, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, TikTok. People don't always think about the social and how that matters, but really it's an attention economy. So it does matter a little bit. And thank you to Lunar Crush for actually listing PulseChain where it should be alongside HEX. They weren't doing that before. Here's another article. All right. This is about the greater crypto market as a whole, not just PulseChain, PulseX, HEX. Okay. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite coins. But this article is saying that Ether tops out as the largest crypto asset for institutions. So a lot of institutions are aware of what's happening in Ethereum land. Let's not forget about this, guys. The Denkun update is coming. This is Denkun, okay? All that really means is that they're going to make Ethereum fees a little bit cheaper. PulseChain's still going to be way cheaper, okay? It's still going to be, we're talking about going from $200 to $10. Still going to be very expensive, but it's going to make Ethereum somewhat usable. Again, gearing up for the bull market again, and Ethereum prices are going to continue to come down over the next, 1 to 5 years. So let's just read the bullet points on this article, okay? Institutions are heavily allocating their portfolios to Ether and Bitcoin. This is why when people say that, oh, all the money is flowing into Bitcoin because it's all on the ETFs and none of the money is going to flow into Ethereum, people are wrong. This is an article showing that that's not a correct way to think, okay? The institutions, the smart money, they know there's innovation happening. They've got their eyes on Ethereum next. The Ethereum ETF is next on the chopping block. Now, by that time, basically when you have an ETF and your project is like 10 years old, you're at the top of the S curve, or you're near the top of the S curve, 12 years old, 13 years old. It's not early anymore. So Ethereum, it's going to have a very good run in my opinion, but you're kind of on the later half. You're in the cycle 3 of Ethereum. PulseChain is cycle 1, HEX is cycle 1, PulseX is cycle 1. PHEX, right? EHEX is cycle 2. So you're earlier on all these coins, all these altcoins in comparison to Ethereum. But now that Wall Street has got their hands around Bitcoin, they've got their eyes on Ethereum next, so they're heavily allocating their portfolios to Ether and Bitcoin. Retail users are more bullish on Bitcoin. So long story short, guys, retail is getting dumped on, or retail is falling for the trap of lackluster gains Bitcoin. Okay. Whereas smart money, institutional money, you could say, they're already looking at the next thing. Okay. They're already thinking about where can we make money next? Now that we've got a stake in Bitcoin, all the inflows together in Bitcoin, I was reading from Vanguard and all these different funds, BlackRock, they've bought over 1.5% of the global supply of Bitcoin. Now, in Grayscale, they own about 3% of the Bitcoin. So if you add some of the top 10 holders, the Winklevoss twins, Chamath, Palihapitiya, if you add Tim Draper and all that, Jack Dorsey, this small group of people owns a very, very large, probably 20% of Bitcoin in the hands of very few people. So it's funny when I hear people talk about fair distribution and all that stuff, right? So look, Bybit's report highlights a shift in market sentiment since December. Institutions now favoring Ether due to Denkun upgrade and reducing their altcoin positions. But let's expand and see what they mean by that. Bybit observed that institutions are particularly pulling their money out of categories like meme coins, AI, and BRC20 coins. These are inscriptions, like NFTs on Bitcoin, basically. Despite their high returns in 2023, they're focusing on more stable assets like layer 1 tokens and reverting back to decentralized finance. So, could we still see yet another DeFi summer, DeFi reboot? Okay, season 2 of DeFi narratives coming back. I think we actually might. All right, so you've got things like Arbitrum and Base and Solana is what these guys are probably talking about. The institutions have not had their eye on PulseChain. Okay, PulseChain is very, very retail friendly. It's a cryptocurrency for the people. It's real DeFi. It's the people's blockchain. Okay, the institutions do not have their slimy tentacles around PulseChain yet. So when I see, they're focusing on layer ones, my mind goes to they must be talking about the mainstream layer ones. They're probably overlooking PulseChain, and that's probably going to be for our benefit. Okay, you don't have to worry about giant VCs, Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z Capital, dumping on your head for a 10x because, they've got investors to atone to. Okay, I mean, that's just the name of the game. That's the whole entire Solana playbook is VCs need exits. That's what we're talking about here. But it's good to see that if attention is on these and people start speculating on Base, Solana, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Optimism, if people start speculating on the other layer ones and the other DeFi protocols within them, PulseChain is right there as let's find out what PulseChain is today. So I think it's the top 12. After 12th place, after 9 months of existence, $500 million of TVL, probably $100 million-ish of stablecoins. I would assume more is coming very soon. They don't have the number in here. This is DeFi Llama, by the way. Try being a top 12 blockchain after only 9 months and realize that all these competitors here, guys, 1 through 11, have been out for years. Many, many years. Obviously, Ethereum is number 1. Obviously, Polygon having been out for 5 years, 6 years maybe. BSC has been out for 6 years. These should be higher than PulseChain. But the fact that it's climbing the ranks, PulseChain is the fastest growing new layer 1 competitor to all the mainstream players. And it's a real contender. You can't ignore it when you look at the actual metrics. PulseX, world's largest DEX, like owning a piece of the casino, buy and burn function, Uniswap with a buy and burn function built in based on the volume. This DEX is the, I think, top 50 DeFi protocol after only 9 months of existence. Yep, well, 61 today. 61. It really depends on the prices of the day. But look, to be number 61 as the primary DEX, and really all your competitors right now have been around for 5 years. Uniswap, Maker, Aave, these are the top guys. And we're coming for them already. So pick the right teams, guys. Pick the right verticals, and we're all going to be just fine. Focus on the core coins and be opportunistic. In the bear market, you had over 2 years, right, to establish positions, dollar cost average at the lows. Be opportunistic. Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. I think they're still fearful. I mean, look, it seems like the gates are about to come down. Okay, it seems like the dam is about to burst. It seems like with Bitcoin at 60K, it sparks new attention. Okay, the attention economy. And of course, the boomers and all the grandmas and grandpas in the 401ks that just want to allocate 1%, of course they're not going to be the ones getting into DeFi, right? That's obvious. But it doesn't mean nobody is. It doesn't mean there's nobody out there that's not a little bit more tech savvy, a little more curious, a little more risk tolerant, and willing to experiment with something new. There's a ton of people out there that, they basically just woke up out of their coffin today, said, oh my God, Bitcoin is 60K. I'm actually not wrecked anymore. And they still have the same risk tolerance and the same ability to figure stuff out. You out there watching is probably in this group of people, right? You're not just going to say, oh, well, the Bitcoin ETF is cool, but that's good enough for me, guys. I don't need anything else than the Bitcoin ETF. You watching probably realize that there are other opportunities out here in the crypto world. And anyone that wants to take the tiny little bit of effort to learn how to withdraw their, Ethereum or whatever else into their self-hosted wallet, MetaMask, Internet Money, Rabby. Internet Money is a great wallet, internetmoney.io. When you have your own seed words and you own your own private keys and you have your money in your own possession, you unlock exclusive access to all the opportunities that decentralized finance has to offer. PulseChain's real DeFi. PulseX is real decentralized finance. No middlemen. Can't be shut off. That's why we're not worried about the court case with Richard, because even if they sue Richard, they can't shut off PulseChain and PulseX or HEX. So with the crypto narrative at the top of everyone's mind, thank you, Bitcoin. Thank you for the pump. But people are going to be seeking higher returns because look, guys, 50 to 60K, $50 to $60,000 is only a 20% increase. So it seems huge. Everyone's like, oh my God, they're losing their minds. Everyone's losing their minds, but over a 20% pump. And we know that there's 100Xs on the table, 1,000Xs maybe. I think from bottom to top, it's possible that PulseChain does 1,000X. I think a lot of people have the opportunity to capture over 100X. If you play it right, if you build your position now, if you've been building now, and if you're brand new here, you're still not too late, but really pay attention to what's going on here. I'll pull this up really quick. This is not me, okay? I mean, this chart's been out for a while, but this is typically one way to think about the path to Altseason. Altseason is referring to obviously when all the altcoins pump. All right. So first money flows into Bitcoin. Now that same money, people get this wrong. They think, oh, well, that money's in the ETF, so it's not flowing into everything else. But it is. And the attention of it is. So Bitcoin was never really compatible with EVM chains anyway. You had to wrap your Bitcoin and maybe WBTC and all that stuff, but you still have to withdraw it off the exchanges. Just like if you're in the ETF, you would still have to redeem your ETF for real Bitcoin and get it off into your own personal wallet to participate in phase 2, which is Ethereum. And like we just said with this previous article, guys, institutions are moving on to Ethereum right now. It seems to be that way. And after that, large caps, well, to me, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what the large caps are. Large caps and Altseason is where money flows to next. It's kind of all one and the same here. This phase overlap here, regardless of market cap, some altcoins with strong fundamentals are having pumps. Okay, so I agree with this. I kind of lump these two together. It's a trickle-down effect. Okay, money flows from Bitcoin to ETH to alts. It's a very oversimplification because there's always micro seasons and everything like that. Just one way to think about the upcoming pump that might or might not happen. I'm looking forward to a very bullish year, very bullish 2024, all the way into 2025. I think we might get an extended cycle. It's easy to say, oh, left translated cycle. I think this Bob Lucas guy, he instilled this left translated cycle idea into everybody's head. And it's like maybe, but even if it is left translated, what if it's a fractal of the 2012, 2013 cycle where you had the double bubble, right? What if we do get some, cool off of, let's say Bitcoin is 40K at the end of 2024 because it went so high early on in 2024. But let's say we do another pump in 2025 because, that's when they start printing a bunch of money again. Who knows? In other news, still very high yields on app.pulsex.com. If you want to participate in yield farming over there, very, very high passive income over there at the risk of impermanent loss, of course. And if you guys want to buy PulseChain or PulseX, I posted a pretty easy way to do that, guys. People might be sleeping on pulseln.com. If you've got Cash App, you can buy up to $1,000 at a time of PulseChain directly. And it's almost instantaneous, right? It takes you like less than 5 minutes. You get Cash App, you buy Bitcoin on Cash App, you withdraw it, and you send it on Lightning Network over to this website. And then on this website, you enter your public address for your crypto wallet. And the PulseChain will just be sent right to your crypto wallet. Now, if you're new to this whole thing and you want to buy PulseChain or buy HEX or PulseX, or we've got so many meme coins, they're always pumping. Something is always pumping on PulseChain, all right? If you're brand new, really quickly, I'll direct you to this website. It's called pulsecoinlist.com. Your gateway into buying PulseChain. So there's all these different methods, guys. I'll point out a couple that I particularly like that are easy. These are the easy ones, okay, but they're going to cost fees. Change Now. It's really good, but you might be paying up to a 3% fee. Okay, maybe even more sometimes. It really depends. But this is no KYC. You can swap. Look, you can swap any coin for PulseChain. So you buy some Ethereum, get that in your wallet, swap it directly for PulseChain. It'll be there all right in your wallet for a small convenience fee, okay? Change Now is a good one. StealthX is a really good one. These also charges fees, very, very similar to Change Now, but very convenient. And that's the price you pay for the convenience, okay? PulseLN, I talked about that one. Kanga, this is a European exchange. Tokens Express, if you're coming in from the Binance Smart Chain, check out this bridge right here. It's tokensex.link. Tokensex.link, it's a bridge. Piteus is one of the best DEX aggregators. Got to give him a shout out on this. If you're brand new to PulseChain, right, and you don't know about Piteus, really check this out. You're going to get better deals on the DEX side of things. It's kind of like the 1-inch, but for PulseChain, okay? It's the 1-inch of PulseChain. CowSwap is awesome on the Ethereum side. If you want to buy HEX, I always use CowSwap nowadays. And be careful with some of these other ones, guys. I haven't heard about CoinTiger, Swap Zone, but if you want to buy PulseChain fast, I just listed you some of the fastest ways. Change Now, StealthX, PulseLN, or I've got tons of videos about that too. And one last hot tip out there for the newbies. All right, one last thing that you guys got to know. Bookmark this website. This is gorealdefi.com. If you want to use any of this stuff on the PulseChain ecosystem, right? If you want to stake your HEX, if you want to bridge from Ethereum to HEX, if you want to use the PulseX DEX on the PulseChain side, if you want to use the Ethereum DEX on the Ethereum side to buy anything on the ETH side, the Blockchain Explorer, it's all right here. 6 big old buttons. Okay, it couldn't be easier. And there's a whole bunch of educational stuff on this website too. So this is a really good website, gorealdefi.com. Again, if you're brand new, bookmark it. Thank me later. It's just the one-stop shop to everything else. And also, I got to shout out gopulse.com as well. Gopulse.com. If you go to this website, link in description below. Okay, gopulse.com. You can do all your swapping from here. You can manage your portfolio. Okay, literally all your PulseChain portfolio. You can see all different coins, see a bunch of useful trading apps. You can even mint your own coin. I mean, everyone's doing it these days, apparently. You can do HEX staking. You can do privacy and security. And of course, just all the stats about the bridges, the gas fees, PulseX trading volume. Now, everybody likes the validators because of the globe. Bookmark this one too, gopulse.com/coffee. Links in description below for these, okay, by the way. Links in description below if you're brand new. This is your starting place, okay? GoRealDeFi.com, GoPulse.com. And there's plenty more awesome websites out there, but these are the best place to start. Like, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment, and watch those previous videos if you want to know about how to buy Pulse. Kind of the more difficult way, but the more decentralized way. That's it. That's the news. What do you think the sacrifice address is going to do with all that juicy yield? What do you think Bitcoin's going to do? Do you think Bitcoin's going to make an all-time high? Do we get left translated cycle? Or do we just get lengthening cycles and diminishing amplitude returns? I don't know. I'm betting on the latter, but literally anything could happen at this point. I have no clue. Neither does anybody else, but making educated guesses based on history, that's all we can do. So I hope you guys learned something, and I will see you on the next video.